Virgos, my brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. Before I get into everything, I feel the need to apologize, even though it's not my fault. It's Apple's fault, but apologize for the smudginess of the camera. I don't know what the issue is. I cannot tell you what it is. It was obviously working fine yesterday. It was working fine in general. I don't see any scratches or damages to the camera at all. It's just Apple products. Don't get me started. But I'm here to do the autumn/spring equinox reading for the sign of Virgo. So if you have Virgo in your chart, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you. So I have my notes here, by the way. So if you see me looking down at my phone or whatever, I'm looking at some of the notes I have about the equinox. What the equinox symbolizes is pretty much maintaining balance within your life, with a special emphasis on your relationships. Now, this could be romantic relationships, this can be family, this can be friendships, this can be work relationships, relationships with your community members, whatever relationships you have. This is about just honing in focus on that, and honestly auditing those relationships. Now, when I say audit those relationships, I mean like looking into them and seeing what's been working, what hasn't been working, where there is an imbalance, where there is a balance, and in regards to how to, I guess, go about that. If there are areas in your relationships, again, no matter the type of relationship, where there is an imbalance, now is the time to think about how, first of all, what balances do you want? Like, what can be done to create this balance? So there isn't an imbalance, what those imbalances are if they're present, and how you can go about changing that. In regards to balances, just because things are working well doesn't mean that they can't be improved upon, or you don't have to think about them. Think about how you can maintain this balance. Think about how you can make the balance stronger so it doesn't become an imbalance. Okay? These are things you can think about as well. If you're in the northern hemisphere, I wasn't going to say normal because ain't nothing normal about the cold. I don't care. But if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's getting into that autumn winter right now. And the autumn equinox, for those who are in the northern hemisphere, is a period of reflection, and it's about self-reflection, but it's self-reflection in the sense of how you're showing up within your relationships. Now, if you're single, I have something for you as well, but let me tackle the folks who are in romantic relationships. Okay, so if you're in a romantic relationship, again, it's about how you're showing up within your within your romantic relationship, in your present and in your past. Now, when I say in your past, I'm not saying think about the ex that you might be missing, or think about what they did or didn't do that your ex does or doesn't do right now. It's thinking about, but if that is the case, right, think about like yourself. Think about how you are, like, what things did you not accept in the past that you are accepting now, and vice versa. What things that you are accepting of now that you didn't accept in the past, and just how you're showing up within that relationship. Because again, it's not just, well, back then this is just a random example. Back then, I didn't care if my partner, cheated on me as long as they stayed with me. But now I do care if my partner right now were to cheat, because I don't care if they still want to stay. I'm not with it. So obviously that was a mindset shift, and something about your personal boundaries that changed between those years. And again, there's if you feel as though that fits into the balance of your relationship, communicate that with your partner, of course, but also create an atmosphere to where they also are feeling like their boundaries are being set. Because again, you're talking about boundaries. So it's not just your boundaries, and again, we're focusing on balance. But it's not just your boundaries that should be focused on. Although you can't think for someone else. Obviously, they have their boundaries, you have yours. But what I'm trying to say here is a healthy, balanced relationship is my boundaries are respected, but I am also respecting the boundaries of my partner. It's not just, it's my boundaries and my way of the highway. And just because I put up with it in the past, that I'm not going to put up with it now. And therefore, this whole relationship has to revolve around my boundaries and my boundaries only. No, so that's a sense of balance when you're in a relationship. When you're not in a relationship, you should be thinking about how you are going to show up in your next relationship if that is something you desire. Okay, and I'm using the example of romantic relationships, because if I go over all of them, I feel as though the video is going to be super long. So I'm just using romantic for now. But in a general sense, for anybody who probably doesn't desire romantic relationships, you still have relationships with other people, other types of relationships with people, whether, again, family, friends, whatever, right? Unless you're going to be full hermit mode like we are, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I haven't done the cards yet, so I can't tell you if hermit's going to show up for us yet. But if you don't plan on being a full hermit your entire life, then this message is for you. And if you decide you want to be a hermit, this ain't for you. Whatever, ignore it. But even if you don't want to be in a romantic relationship, you still have to show up a certain way in your other types of relationships. So you still have to take this time out to reflect on how you're going to show up for yourself and how you're going to show up for this friend, for this family, for this whoever, right? That isn't a romantic partner. All right. And if you're single, it's not because you oppose romantic relationships, you just don't have one right now. Again, it's about thinking about how you're going to show up for that next relationship. What are things that you've done in the past? These are some things you can ask yourself, by the way. These aren't necessarily, when I ask the questions, I'm saying that these are if you're struggling to come up with ways of self-reflection, because I know self-reflection could be a difficult thing. It sounds easy, but self-reflecting is not necessarily as easy as people make it out to seem, okay? So when I ask these questions, these are just examples of questions you can ask yourself. They're not mandatory questions. When you do self-reflect, there will be questions that come up in your mind. And simply because you didn't hear me ask this question in this video does not mean you're asking the wrong questions. There's no such thing as the wrong questions when you're self-reflecting, by the way. As long as it's about you and it came from your mind and it's really a question or a concern that you have, then there's no such thing as the wrong question. So anybody gonna try to tell you that you're asking the wrong questions, I'd be wary of that individual. There might be times where you're not going as deep as you can. There's a difference between asking a wrong question and not going deep. Not going as deep as you possibly can. So, if you're not going as deep as you possibly can, I would advise you go deep. You go there. You know what I'm saying? But whatever questions come to your mind, it's not the wrong question. But I am just when I give these questions, they're just examples. They're not the right questions. They're not what you should be asking, right? I know I got to choose my words wisely. I believe I did say should. You should do whatever comes to mind as far as the questions. That's the only thing I'm going to say you should do. But as far as these questions, okay, once again, if you are not in a relationship, but you do desire to be in one. All right. Ask or an example of a question you can ask yourself is, what have I done in the past that I felt worked, and how can I implement that in my next relationship? And what have I done in the past that didn't work, and how can I avoid doing that thing within my next relationship as well? You can also think about, what do you want your ideal partner to be? So when you are out here looking for your next relationship, what things does he, she, or they symbolize, or what qualities do they have? These are things you can reflect on at a time like this. Now, that is, like I said, for the Northern Hemisphere folk out there, creating that balance right there. For the spring equinox folks, the lucky folks out there who are experiencing beautiful weather right now, it's about renewal, rejuvenation, and just being led by authenticity, not fear or conformity. So still, it's in a sense of creating a balance in your life, where there's an imbalance, specifically on your individuality. If you are at work, if you're anywhere, and you feel as though you can't be yourself, to me, that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance there, and you have to think about ways on how you can show up more as yourself. You know, this is, again, it's about your individuality. So how you're showing up within the world. Even if you are showing up as yourself, there can be times where you're showing up, how can I say this? I don't want to say too authentic, but you're not necessarily, how can I say this? Because I don't want to say too authentic, but you are being, I guess, like, too relaxed. Like you're hopefully none of y'all are like this, but you're showing up and you like accustomed, like in an uncustomary way, where, like, let's just say you're at a work setting. Again, easy example, you're at this meeting, right? And instead of stepping out of this meeting, you go into the bathroom to let out a fart or something, or a burp or whatever. You just let it rip in the boardroom or the meeting room. Is that you being yourself? Yeah. But is it rude? Yeah. Nobody should be subjected to your stank. Like, let's be real. Nobody should be subjected to your stank because you out here, I'm just living my life. I'm just being myself. This is me. Yeah, but there's a limit. You know what I'm saying? So tone it down. So balance that out. Balance you being yourself, not being afraid to fart. Don't hold it in, but go to the bathroom and do that. You know what I'm saying? Step outside. Step outside and let that burp out, So again, just thinking about, that's a silly example, but just thinking about things of that nature, how you can still show up as yourself, but you're not doing things that's just like totally crazy, like I said, uncustomary. Because no one should be subjected to your stank. Depending on how this reading goes, that might be the title. I'm sorry, but let's get right into the reading. Again, Virgos, sun, moon, or rising. This is for us. This is our autumn and / spring equinox, depending on where you are. Once again, how the weather is looking like in your hemisphere. So, if you want a personal reading, you are able to book one. All you have to do is email me. You can find my email in the description box. Just remember that I will never email you, nor will I message you on social media asking you if you want a personal reading or if you want any other type of service. If there is someone claiming to be me and doing that, it is a fake. So let's be the smart Virgos that we are, use the intuition that we have, and pretty rough reading, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, don't fall for the scams, alright? So this at the end, I'm a talk about how this reading ties into the equinox once again. Um, Temperance. We have temperance in reverse. So this is desperation, impulsiveness, excessiveness as well. Um, it is again depending on where you are, whether you're in the north or other parts of the world. If you're in the northern hemisphere, again, think about you know, your relationships, balancing your relationships. But don't be like too desperate to the point where you're not pouring into your cup. And this is energy that is like you're doing too much for your partner. Again, it's about balance. It's great that you want to, and as Virgos, we are servants. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I have a love-hate relationship with with that aspect of being a Virgo, because there are people who take advantage of that or believe because we are the sign of being servants and stuff that's all we're meant to do, serve others. We're not supposed to be served. We're meant to serve others in any way that we serve them, or any way that they can use to get whatever from us. This is you being in that toxic side, though. This is you being someone who is overly serving of a partner. Again, if you're in that hemisphere, and if you are not in that hemisphere or just in general, you are being in this energy where you're doing too much for somebody else, and it's not being reciprocated. This shows me that whoever you're doing this over giving to is not reciprocating to you. And as a Virgo who's been in that energy, I can tell you this is not, it's not good. You know what I'm saying? Next, we have the Tower. This is definitely what has happened, like sudden changes and chaos and just, yeah, this has definitely has happened in my relationships, romantic and not, when I was moving in this type of energy. Again, the temperance in reverse for those who are. The glare I know is kind of crazy, so I might make the smudging. Don't know why. Again, like I said, I apologize, even though Apple should apologize to me. But this definitely has happened. Because I don't know how you other Virgos are, but I'm the type of individual where, and I have to work on this, of course, where when I was over giving, obviously it was toxic to do, but it was toxic for myself, where I would not express, like I felt as though if I let my partner know, hey, I would like to receive as well. Like if I spoke up, then I would be wrong for doing so. Like I was the bad guy, because I allowed my partners to do that. I allow my partners to think the good guy is the guy who just takes crap. The good guy is the guy who does anything for his partner and doesn't get anything in return. And then I blew up on it. It just, you think you're gonna, like, a relationship like that is gonna last. It's not. You're gonna blow up and it's gonna be ugly. Trust me. If you're gonna blow up, it's gonna be traumatic. It's gonna be ugly. It's going to be chaotic. So if there's a Virgo right now getting into this energy, I am here to warn y'all, as someone who's been through this. I'm looking at these cards. This looks like a past reading of mine. Straight up. This looks like if I were to get this reading in the past. Now, I don't remember every single reading I've ever gotten, but I'm looking at these cards and I'm looking at my past. But this is someone's present right now. Someone who, again, has Virgo in their chart. This is someone's present right now. You are overgiving and you need to be mindful of it, because if you don't stop, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. And I've already mentioned a couple times before, I like seeing the Tower card in readings, most readings. This is one of those times where I'm like, I'm still glad it's here simply because it means that eventually this thing is going to end. This relationship you have is going to end eventually. But it just sucks that things had to get chaotic for it to happen. It sucks that you had to pretty much, you was doing so much for this person who, again, it sucks that you're in a relationship with somebody who isn't going to do the most for you or do as much. Let me not say the most, but do as much for you as you're doing for them. All right. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, this looks like, or sis, sorry, but this looks just like my past, like flashbacks. Anyways, you have the Three of Wands. Again, frustrations, obstacles, lack of foresight as well. But I'm going to focus on the frustration aspect. I am telling you from experience, my brothers and sisters. This is a reading from my past. You could be like, this got nothing to do with me. This is your past reading and the universe wanted to tell you something. You might be right. But, I'm still going to do the reading anyways. Maybe it's a reminder to me that, hey, Ernest, remember that last relationship. Remember this other relationship when you was moving in this energy. Remember how ugly that shit ended. You remember all this stuff, right? Remember how bad you felt. Remember all the stuff you was doing. Don't do that in this next relationship. This could be a reminder, to me, But like I said, my past is someone's present right now, unfortunately. And you have as the last card, or we have as the last card. I'm still going to say we, even though, like I said, this is more so of my past. And I'm only saying my past is because I'm not in a romantic relationship right now. You know what I'm saying? So if I was and I was going through these issues, I would say this is very much my present. But I can recognize this reading as my past because it has happened, But we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So this is like a power dynamic thing, exploitation, selfish motivations as well. Interesting. I was just reading for Cancer. They didn't get any of these cards, but they did get a card where I said that, and I've mentioned this in other readings in general, where I don't necessarily like to talk about other energies in the readings because I'm talking about the sign or talking about the individual if it's a private personal reading that I am reading for, obviously. But I think this card symbolizes the partner. Like, this was the partner of my past, or this is, again, if this is a current situation happening for a Virgo out there, this is the partner right now. This is the individual who, and it could be you, it could be still you, who feels like, who's exploiting your giving nature in order to keep this person, but then at the same time you're upset at the fact that they're not giving as much as you are giving to them, but then you're using that again to exploit the relationship. So it's like, it could be in the sense of you moving in this energy and you're like, okay, I'm going to give in order to receive, but I'm not receiving, and now I'm upset at my partner for not giving me as much as I'm giving them. But then it's like, you're not necessarily giving for the right reasons. One should give to their partner. You know what I'm saying? Here I go using should, but I'm gonna say it. One should give to their partner because it's the right thing to do in a relationship. If you truly love that person, if you truly honor that person, you should do things to express that. Not in the aspect of, I'm going to do it because I want things in return, and therefore I'm only doing these things because there's something I want in return from that other individual. So this could actually be you, not your partner. But for those who truly are, and we're Virgos, so Let's be introspective about it. We didn't get the Hermit card in this reading, but that doesn't mean that we can never tap into the Hermit energy, where we have to be truly introspective. If you know for a fact this isn't you, what I just said doesn't describe you, then it could be your partner. It could be your partner who is the one exploiting, again, your kind heart at the end of the day. Nonetheless, it sucks. Again, I've been there. I have been there. This is, I told y'all, this is my last relationship, man. Like, this is my past relationships. You know, plural. I've been there. I get it. But I've said this for another sign. If it wasn't for us, I feel like I've said this before. Either or, it's a message that need to be said to whoever is listening, cross watcher or not. What we allow in our relationships ultimately is our decision. The good, the bad, the not so good bad, if there is even a gray area, right? If we continue to let it happen, let these unfortunate situations happen, at the end of the day, they're going to continue doing what we allow them to get away with. We have to put a stop to it. And it might be ugly. Again, you might get pushback. This could be ugly because of some pushback. I've been there, like I said. I've been there where it was ugly because I blew up like this tower, but also I tried to be amicable about it, and they blew up because they realized that I realized what was going on. I realized the exploitation that was going on. I realized the abuse, that was going on, and I was going to put a stop to it, and they didn't want that. So things got ugly because they didn't want that, Yeah, so what it seems as though the universe is telling us for this autumn/spring equinox is wherever your relationships are, whether it's with a romantic partner or how you're going to show up in the world or how you're going to show up within your next relationship in general, is to balance how we are going to give. I'm still taking heed to this message. Balance how we're going to be the givers. Because like I said, in the past, and I've gone through it, and I'm sure other Virgos have gone through this as well. In the past, we were the overgivers. And it caused an imbalance. It caused anger because we weren't receiving. We were with partners. I'm gonna say me, but maybe you identify as well. But I was with partners who they wouldn't say this out loud, but you can tell by their actions where it was like, you should just be happy that you're with me. So I'm only going to give myself. So I am giving to you. I'm giving you hope in the sense of you're with me. That's all you should be happy with. Whereas now that you have me, you have to give to me to keep me around and stuff. Because that was the energy I was allowing them to have. That was the dynamic, the relationship dynamic that I was allowing to have with my insecurity, with all the other issues I was having at the time. So, yeah, Virgos, not necessarily, I guess, a good reading, but the truth is needed. I'm still glad that we got this message simply because it's something that everyone needs to be aware of. You don't ever want to be in an energy like this, And I damn sure don't want to see my fellow brothers and sisters in an energy like this. So, yeah, this has been our reading for the autumn/spring equinox. If you would like a personal reading from me, you're able to book one by checking the description box below. There you can find my email, and hit me up. We'll go over booking one. I'm scheduling one. Just be aware that I will never email you and I will never message you on social media. Therefore, if there is someone pretending to be me, claiming to be me, messaging you, emailing you, offering readings or services of any other kind, it is fake. All right? So just be wary of that. Until next time, episode. Y'all take care out there. Peace.